じゃあ、先輩ですね。
So, you've been entranced by Studio Bones' hit anime My Hero Academia and binged all 5 seasons, 9 arcs, and 113 episodes. Don't worry, there'll be no manga spoilers in this fine article. Naturally, you're now thinking to yourself, well, self, these brave kiddos all claim to be the greatest hero of their generation, but who really is the best, and who is all talk? Well, I've taken the initiative to answer that question. With a bit too much free time on my hands, I made a system that factors in a student's quirk, as well as their natural abilities, both mental and physical. The result was a list that I feel accurately represents the quirky group. Without further ado, let's dive right in and see who went plus ultra. I had to say it at some point. 20. Toru Hagakure. Sure, invisibility is a pretty unique quirk, but it's certainly not a good quirk. The only effective way she can catch a criminal is by sneaking up on them, and her weird light refraction powers make no sense and aren't that effective. She doesn't have any redeeming non-quirk abilities, so Invisible Girl comes last. 19. Yuga Aoyama. Aoyama's quirk is Naval Laser, which isn't as powerful as it sounds. The laser part is nice, but it is very limited and gives him a tummy. This is usually enough to take Aoyama out of the fight, as his nervous disposition in battle is one of the worst in the class. But hey, at least he appreciates good cheese. 18. Meizo Shoji. This guy made it surprisingly low down on the list, and it was mostly because of his quirk, Dupli Arms. He mainly uses it for reconnaissance, which is something I didn't reward much in these rankings. His natural intelligence and strength are adequate, so that puts him above the previous 2. 17. Hanta Sero. Honestly, Cellophane's quirk, Tape, isn't half bad. He also appears to be in reasonable shape and decent at using it. However, he is a bit of an airhead, and he doesn't have what it takes to surpass most of his class. 16. Koji Koda Koda is one of the more passive members of Class 1A, and this, unfortunately, puts him behind obsessed psychos like Midoriya and Bakugo. His quirk, Ana Voice, is pretty freaking awesome in my opinion. Nevertheless, controlling animals isn't all that effective on days when all you can get are a few insects and a squirrel. 15. Minoru Mineta. You all can probably understand this one, right? When a student is 3'7" and his only driving force is getting ladies, he's not going to get a spectacular ranking. However, I would like to say this. Hop-Off is the most underrated quirk in the series. 14. Kyokujiro Earphone. Jack is honestly one of the worst quirks in the class. Luckily, Jiro has used this quirk to her best abilities, such as her effective deafening attack. Additionally, our favorite goth has brains. Her test scores supplied to us in Season 2 were very high. 13. Mashirao Ojiro. A lot of you might be shocked to find the tail guy this high up on the list. While it is true that his quirk tail is garbage, he managed to rank well in all other categories. He is known to be smart and gifted in martial arts. Go Tailman. 12. Ochako Uraraka. Unfortunately, our lead girl doesn't crack the top 10, but she did pretty well for a relatively weak quirk. Zero gravity can be effective at times, but it just doesn't compete with the prodigies above her. She's got decent test scores and hand-to-hand combat training, so that puts her at 12. 11. Rikido Sato Sugar Rush may cost him intelligence, but any super strength quirk is powerful. He isn't stupid, and he's one of the biggest in the class. Alas, Sugarman just doesn't really stand out in any category. 10. Denki Kaminari. Kicking off our top 10 is the phone charging man himself, Charge Bolt. Kaminari's quirk, Electrification, is overpowered, especially after he acquired his sharpshooting gear. This allows him to blast electricity off of his body without melting his brain, which was a common hazard in Seasons 1 through 3. Sadly, he's an idiot. 9. Mina Ashido's quirk, Acid, can be used for practically anything, surprisingly. Obviously it burns through stuff, but it also can be manipulated into a shield or skated on. Not to mention, the Alien Queen is a superb dancer, which apparently helps. 8. Momo Yaoyorozu. Perhaps the most sexualized of these poor high schoolers, Creati is more than just a pretty face. Her quirk, Creation, allows her to create anything non-living, which can be used in basically any scenario. She's also a genius, which is handy. 7. Tsuyu Asui. Froppy's quirk is Frog, which is about as useful in battle as a human-sized frog as you might imagine. Luckily, she received impressive test scores and is known to be collected and comforting to those around her. I mean, who wouldn't want to be around a frog girl? 6. Fumikage Tokoyami. For starters, Tokoyami is reasonably smart and is driven by controlling his potentially dangerous quirk, which makes for a good hero. Dark Shadow is really what brought him this high, however, as it can pretty much do anything. Tokoyami has used Dark Shadow to fly, to increase his strength, and just to have a buddy to talk to. 5. Eijiro Kirishima. Kirishima's got an incredible quirk for battle. Hardening. Hehe. All laughs aside, hardening makes Red Riot the perfect shield in addition to an effective sword, as no one wants to be punched by a guy that's rock hard. Hehe. Not to mention he's jacked, and he's got the energy of a sugar-crazed toddler. 4. Tenya Ida Engine is a great quirk, as it makes Ida super fast and makes his kicks very painful. Ida comes from generations of heroes and is dedicated to replacing his crippled brother. He's the class representative, so he's very smart. He's got what it takes to be the best. However, no one can surpass Class 1, A's Big 3. 2. Shoto Todoroki. Ranking Todoroki over Bakugo was something I disagreed with at first, but I suppose makes sense. Bakugo is a bit more gifted than Todoroki in most categories, but the Son of Endeavor has a far better quirk. Half cold, half hot basically makes Todoroki the equivalent of Mr. Freeze and Zuko combined. He's book smart, strong, motivated, and cool as hell. 1. Izuku Midoriya. Deku has the best quirk in the class. That's a given. So far, One for All has bestowed him with incredible physical abilities and Black Whip, with much more on the way. I feel that with his love for hero knowledge and diligent note-taking, he is one of the smartest in the class, behind only Yaoyorozu. He exercises vigorously, making him undoubtedly one of the naturally strongest in the class. Finally, as the main character, we can kind of assume that he has the most determination of them all. If all goes as planned, Midoriya will someday be the #1 hero, just as his men. There you have it! It's hard to be meticulous while ranking 20 people, so let me know if you had an issue with any of these. I love to hear differing opinions on topics I'm interested in, like the students of Class 1A. However, if there's one thing we all should agree on, it's that Nagamasa Mora's extendo hair is better than all of these quirks combined.